What's the difference between Freud and Jung? Two Viennese cafes, two restless intellects, one friendship that would ignite the greatest rivalry in the history of psychology. Sigmund Freud, father of psychoanalysis, explorer of forbidden desires. Carl Gustav Jung, visionary of myth, prophet of the collective dreams. They began as allies, ended as adversaries, and left behind two competing maps of the human mind. Tonight we pit them head to head to answer one question. What is the real difference between Freud and Jung? Welcome to Chronicles of Legends, where ideas clash and history breathes. Buckle up. Freud's structural model divides the psyche into three interacting parts: the id, ego, and superego. The id is the reservoir of instinctual drives, unconscious impulses seeking immediate pleasure and satisfaction. The ego develops to handle reality. It operates on the reality principle, negotiating between the id's demands and the outside world. The superego emerges from childhood moral training and internalizes society's rules. It functions as the conscience, insisting on right and wrong. In Freud's view, a healthy ego manages these forces, trying to satisfy the id without violating the superego or reality. Jung's model of the psyche is more complex. He agrees that the ego is the center of conscious awareness and the seat of personal identity. But beyond the ego, Jung identified additional components. The persona is the social mask we present to others, a necessary adaptation for everyday life. In contrast, the shadow is the unconscious counterpart to the persona. It contains all the traits and desires we reject or hide, often qualities opposite to those we outwardly display. At the core of Jung's model is the self, an organizing principle that represents the whole psyche, conscious and unconscious. The self strives for balance and wholeness, guiding the process of psychological growth, individuation, toward a unified personality. Freud's framework reflects his view of the mind as a battleground of hidden drives and moral constraints. He saw the id's primal energies constantly clashing with the superego's learned ideals. For example, Freud famously likened the ego to a rider trying to control a powerful horse, the id. The superego embodies the internalized voice of parents and culture, so that guilt and self-criticism arise when the id's wishes conflict with moral standards. In this way, Freud emphasized intrapsychic conflict. Most mental life is driven by unconscious desires and shaped by early experience. Jung, by comparison, viewed the psyche as striving toward integration. He noted that his theory is organized from the point of view of the self, not from that of the ego, as early Freudian theory was. In Jung's outlook, psychic tension is not just a problem to repress, but material to integrate. The persona and shadow are complementary halves. Where there is light, there must also be shadow. By bringing shadow aspects into consciousness, a person enriches their personality and moves toward wholeness. The self's goal is explicitly teleological, aiming for wholeness. Jung called this the process of individuation. In summary, Freud's id-ego-superego model highlights how unconscious drives, id, reality testing and personal identity, ego, and internalized morality, superego, interact. It reflects his belief that the mind is largely shaped by early instincts and socialization, with mental life characterized by conflict among these forces. Jung's ego-persona-shadow-self model, on the other hand, reflects his broader, holistic view. It highlights both the outward roles we play, persona, and the unconscious depths, shadow, all under the organizing center of the self. Whereas Freud's psyche is a tension-filled arena, Jung's psyche is an evolving system moving toward balance and meaning. Both models agree that conscious awareness is limited. Freud used a topographical metaphor, an iceberg, to show that most psychic content is unconscious. Jung also emphasized an extensive unconscious, including the collective unconscious of archetypes, but he gave the self a special role as the psyche's guiding center. By comparing these models, we see the contrast in each theorist's view of the mind. Freud's structural model underscores inner conflict among instincts and moral ideals, while Jung's model underscores the journey towards self-realization and integration. Each model has been influential. Freud's stresses the battle of the id and superego, whereas Jung's stresses the synthesis of persona, shadow, and the emergent self towards psychic wholeness. Ultimately, Freud saw the psyche as shaped by powerful unconscious drives and our history, whereas Jung saw it as an organism with a natural tendency to grow toward completeness. Both perspectives highlight different structures of the mind, and together they enrich our understanding of human psychology. Thus, Freud's and Jung's structural models serve as complementary lenses. Freud's lets us analyze how hidden impulses, reason, and conscience interact, while Jung's lets us explore how identity, social adaptation, and the unconscious coalesce in the pursuit of selfhood. If this clash of titans lit a spark in you, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. No repression required. Drop a comment. Are you Team Freud, Team Jung, or something entirely new? This is Chronicles of Legends. Until next time, keep exploring the depths, and may your unconscious guide you wisely.